Hello, everyone. This is the most magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, like I normally do once a week, I will be going over the calendar in this calendar review. And not only that, I will be given a sort of short spoiler review on The Walking Dead, Dead City, the very first episode. And yes, I know I'm a week behind on that. Episode 2 just came out last night, and I will be talking about episode 1, but I wasn't able to catch it when it came on, and I only just caught it this past week, and I haven't seen episode 2 quite yet, but I will definitely catch up on episode 2 as well. And don't worry, I'm not going to do that right now. Obviously, I'll give you guys a warning. For those that don't want to know anything, you will definitely be safe. And before we get started, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. I'm doing alright. I'm still a little under the weather. My throat really doesn't hurt anymore. I just have more of a stopped up nose now, and I hate that crap. So, if I sound a little funny, that would be why, and I do apologize. And I am staying safe for the most part. And enough of me babbling on. I think we should go ahead and jump into this, shall we? First up on the agenda is the continuation of the Trash Mythic Battle Pass Season 24, and that's going to be going on for about a month until July 21st. Then we have the ending of the Warfront Mayhem event, and that's going to be ending, even though it's going to be ending on July the 2nd, yeah, so it's going to be ending this week. This is pretty much the last week of that. So if you have Javelin heads to collect, be sure to collect them. This is the last week to do so. Then we have a faction level up tournament that's going to be starting today on Monday, June 26th. And that's going to be until Thursday, June 29th. Then we have a solo level up tournament that's going to be starting up on Thursday, June 29th. And that's going to be until Sunday, July 2nd. Then we have a Faction Nightmare SR tournament, which will be starting today on Monday, June 26th. And that's going to be until Thursday, June 29th. And we have a solo raid tournament, but that has yet to be announced. So my guess is it's probably either going to be Wednesday or Thursday. I would say Thursday as the more likely date based off of SR ending on Thursday, but it isn't confirmed just yet. And to close out the week, we have a cross-region war that will be starting on Friday, June the 30th, and that will be until Sunday, July 2nd. So yeah, pretty much everything is confirmed on this calendar except for solo raid. But I would say that's probably going to be Thursday, but that isn't confirmed. That's just a guess. So, yeah, I don't really have much else to say about the calendar. So, yeah, I'm getting ready to get into the spoiler review of The Walking Dead, Dead City. That's the spinoff with Maggie and Negan. So, if you don't want to hear anything about it, or if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, this is definitely the time to go ahead and click off the video. And if you are clicking off right now, I just want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and for your continued support. And I'll catch you next time. take it easy. Now, for those that want to stick around to hear my spoiler thoughts on the first episode, I'm starting in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here's my quick spoiler review of The Walking Dead, Dead City, Season 1, Episode 1, Old Acquaintances. So here we go. The episode starts with Maggie. She's looking for this big scope. It's like a handmade scope. And she's looking at the city of Manhattan. She's like really close to Manhattan. She's literally just got to go across the river and she's there. And you're wondering, what is she doing? What is she looking for? Why is she so far away from Hilltop? And that gets answered. Trust me, it gets answered. I was confused because I didn't watch any of the trailers. I didn't look up any of the info before watching it. So, one walker jumps her because there's a couple of walkers coming, so she decides to hide. One walker nearly gets the jump on her and she kills it. And we have, the intro title is I like it. I like it a lot. It definitely has that New York vibe to it. So, after the intro, we catch back up with Maggie, and she's at a bar, and she says to these people at the bar that some walkers have attacked this little cabin she was staying in. She said she went out hunting, and these walkers overran her cabin, and she needed somebody to help clear them out. And she's like, they tell her, oh, we got a guy or whatever. And she says, where's the restroom? I got to go to the restroom. And then they tell her, but instead of going to the restroom like she said she was going to, she actually goes a little further out the back door of the bar. And this bar has a motel that's like really, that's operational, which is very interesting. And another interesting thing is they have actual running water. So she goes into one of the motel rooms, and you don't know why. So at first you don't know, but if you pay attention, she's looking for Negan because his knife, I guess he had a certain knife that she recognized. She picked it up, and he also had like this bracelet or a watch I think he wore probably in the later like season 11 and stuff like that. And there's some water, the shower's running, and then these guys, they jump Maggie and they bring her back to the bar. And this one woman that told her where the bathrooms was, she's like, Maggie, I knew you were up to something. I just wanted to see what you was going to do first. And, she gets ready to, the woman pulls out this little pocket knife, and she's getting ready to stab Maggie. And Maggie just, she kicks the back of her heel, and that pushes a blade out of her shoe, which I thought that was actually pretty cool. So she fights them off. She's able to get away, and she's trying to go back to her vehicle, and this one guy tussles with her, and she has this this map of the Manhattan area marked, and she accidentally drops the map as she's getting away, and that's actually pretty important for later on. So, and I forgot to mention, Maggie, she sees Negan. They're obviously hiding Negan. So she's running off to chase after him. And then there's this little girl with Negan. So Maggie ends up catching up to Negan. Yeah, Maggie ends up catching up to Negan and this little girl that's with Negan. And pretty much why Maggie's looking for Negan is there are these bandits that apparently they came to the hilltop and they wanted all of the hilltop's grain. And they said they would be back in a month, and they came back a month later, and they took Herschel. Yes, they took Herschel away from Maggie as leverage or something. So that's why she's off a great distance. She's looking for Herschel, obviously, and that's gotta suck. That sucks, you know. Herschel, you know, he didn't do anything. Like what the hell? So yeah, so she's looking for Herschel, and apparently the person that took Herschel, apparently he was a savior back in the day for Negan, and they call him the Crow Rat. This guy that took Herschel, they call him the Crow Rat. So that's pretty much, you know, that's the whole purpose of this episode, and you know, it's going to be the whole purpose of this season, you know, depending on if there's only going to be the one season. I don't see them doing more than one. I guess it depends on how it wraps up. But yeah, so, and then also why Negan is hiding, he's not hiding from Maggie specifically. Apparently there's a group of marshals called the New Babylon Marshals that want Negan. Negan is wanted. Which, I mean, it is Negan, so I'm not surprised that he's wanted for doing something kind of shitty, but we all like Negan, so, I mean, they definitely explain why Negan is wanted by these marshals. So, you know, Negan, at first, he's like, why should I help you? But he ends up going along with it anyway. And, you know, the little girl is named, well, I shouldn't say little girl, but she's like I would say like a teenager. This teenager girl, her name is Jenny. And, you know, that gets explained why she's with Negan. And, you know, Maggie, she asks, what happened to Annie and your kid? And you notice Negan, he doesn't answer. He really doesn't say anything about either one of them. So Negan and Jenny go with Maggie. They go on closer to, they go to where Maggie was at the beginning of the episode. And, so we go back to the bar. This is where the New Babylon Marshals end up going to the bar, and, you know, apparently they either have info that Negan was at the bar, or they're just wanting to know if anyone has seen Negan. And, well, we do get a first look at what the marshals do to people that are wanted by these marshals. When Maggie and Negan and Jenny are riding, they come across these two people that have been hung by a noose. So we do get a little taste of what they do to people that are wanted by these marshals. So these marshals, these New Babylon Marshals, they go to the bar and they question the people that are there. You know, have you seen Negan? You know, blah, blah, blah. You know, if you tell us, everything's all cool. And the one woman that tried to kill Maggie earlier, she said, no, we haven't seen Negan. So pretty much these marshals, for anyone that commits crimes, you know, they try to make, you know, how they operate, the marshals, is as if they are living in the old world before the apocalypse. So marshals only punish people that are wanted by death, it seems like. And then the one woman that said, no, Negan's not here, he decides to drag her to these walkers over this gate, and he is going to feed her to the walkers, he says, okay, I can deal with you by public execution by feeding you to the walkers, and, you know, because apparently they got drugs, alcohol, I think he said prostitution. No, he said something. It was definitely the drugs and alcohol, but here's the weird thing about the alcohol, right? They're at a bar, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, aren't bars supposed to have alcohol? I don't know. That was kind of weird. But anyway, he's like, alright, because you have drugs, alcohol, and you've been doing other stuff, I'm just gonna give you to the walkers, public execution. And then the woman, like, you know, not that same woman, but another person says, yes, Negan was here. And he's like, okay. He's like, see, that's all you had to say. And he's like, but you're still getting punished for aiding and abetting. So the woman, that one woman that was going to get publicly executed, gets killed anyway for lying about hiding Negan. So, yeah. And then the marshals, when they leave, they find the map that Maggie dropped earlier. And, so yeah, let me skip a little bit ahead. I don't really want to talk too much about every single thing. So Maggie and Negan, they end up in a situation where they end up capturing one of the marshals, and they take him they take him as a hostage. And they okay, guys, I don't know what happened. The recorder just stopped recording, so I'm back. So let's see, where did I leave off? The marshals found the map that Maggie dropped, and Maggie and Negan took one of the marshals as a hostage. Okay, now, Jenny is not with them only because someone from the hilltop came and picked up Jenny. That way, she wouldn't be in any danger, so. And Jenny isn't related to Negan whatsoever. When Negan was traveling, he came across a farm or a ranch or something like that, and Jenny's real father was with Jenny, and then one night he just took off and never came back, and she took a liking to Negan, so that's why those two are together. And she hasn't really talked because her father disappeared without a trace, and that traumatized her to a certain degree. I don't know if she'll say a word, but we got more episodes to get into, so yeah. So the marshals end up finding where Maggie's location was, where she was at the beginning, and they end up getting the drop on one of the marshals, and they end up taking him as a hostage, and they go to Manhattan, and they finally get to Manhattan with the hostage, with the marshal that's being took hostage, and someone is pushing walkers off the really tall buildings of Manhattan, and this is crazy as hell, because you see one walker drop and you just see his skull smash like a pumpkin, and they gotta take cover because all these walkers are falling. But I honestly think they're being pushed off these buildings because they just happen to be falling one by one, so a group of people or someone is definitely doing this for sure. So a group of people or someone know that Maggie and Negan are in Manhattan, so they end up running into a building, and the marshal that is wanting Negan is named Pearlie Armstrong. And real quick, the reason that Negan is wanted by these marshals is because apparently Negan killed a magistrate, and he killed 4 other people, And honestly, him killing some people, it doesn't really surprise me. But why is Negan going after and killing a magistrate? I have a theory about that. I believe that might have something to do with Annie and their kid, possibly. Could be. I mean, there's definitely something behind that. We just don't know quite yet as to why he did that. And Negan also says that what the marshals are saying, it isn't like it seems. And you know what? This being Negan, it's probably a lot more complicated than it seems, but I don't know. Maybe it's just as simple as he went on a rampage, but like I said, him killing a magistrate might have something to do with Annie and then their kid. Possibly. That isn't for sure, but that would be my guess. So they go in this building, Maggie and Negan and the hostage, and they're running from the two other marshals, and it pretty much ends with the kidnapped marshal. He ends up getting shot in the head by one of the other marshals. And then the other marshal that's with Pearlie, he ends up getting eaten by some walkers. So the only marshal left is Pearlie Armstrong, still wanting to capture Negan. And this is what he specifically says that he wants to do to Negan. He's like, when I capture Negan, oh no, I don't want to hang him. I want to hang him upside down, and I want to cut him from his private areas all the way down to his head slowly so he can have a very painful death. Damn, like, oh shit, that doesn't sound good. But will he actually capture Negan? I doubt it, but I don't know. We don't know because this is all new. So we'll have to wait and see. So Maggie and Negan get away from the Marshal Armstrong for now, and they end up in this dark room, and Negan, he lights a match looking around the room, and then, oh my goodness, this jump scare, I didn't see this coming, but there's this woman, and I will tell you, this woman, she, it's funny, this woman has this very similar hairstyle to Ollivander from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the very first Harry Potter movie. That hairstyle that he has, at least in that very first movie, she has the same similar type of hairstyle. I just thought it was funny. Like, at least that's what it looked like to me. But it was an older woman, and I forgot to mention that same older woman was watching him from one of the rooftops when all of those walkers were falling. So that's where Maggie and Negan's little, that's their little part that's ended for this episode. So we have a couple more minutes, and we finally get to see the Crow Rat, and we finally get to see Herschel in this episode. And Herschel is indeed captured by the Crow Rat. He's tied to a chair, and I'm not sure what the time jump is between the ending of the main show to Dead City, but Herschel is a teenager now. He's not a little kid anymore. No, he's a teenager now. And for the little bit that Herschel spoke specifically with this teenage actor, I didn't think he did all that bad. Honestly, I mean, it wasn't that much. It was only a little bit. And then the Crow Rat, he's just this really older dude, and apparently, he was a savior back in the day, and apparently he was this crazy mofo. I mean, he was really off his rocker, supposedly, according to Negan, he was, and, he asked Herschel, are you like your mother, or even your father? And then he asked Herschel, "Have you met the man that killed your father? He lived among your mother's people for years." And Herschel really doesn't say a whole lot, but for what he does give out here as far as his, acting, I mean, it wasn't too bad. He definitely looked terrified. He definitely looked pissed, because, I mean, poor Herschel, he ain't have nothing to do with any of that shit. Back when Negan was the main bad guy, Herschel wasn't even born yet, so, I mean, and it sucks that he's wrapped up in all of this, but, I mean, I guess if that wasn't to happen, we really wouldn't have a show here, but the Crow Rat, apparently he's missing an ear. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if it was cut off or if it was burnt off, but it looks, it looks nasty looking. And then, apparently, the Crow Rat, he has another prisoner held, and he somehow escaped, and he's got all these cuts on him all over, so, I don't know, this guy, we're not sure, but, yeah, this guy ain't up to no good, obviously, and, so the guy ends up escaping. He jumps on he tries to escape by jumping on this zip line. And the Crow Rat and his men, they kind of let him think he's going to get away, but then the zip line lowers. I guess it's a really weak zip line, I'm not really sure. So the Crow Rat, he just takes a player, can't talk. He takes a pair of pliers and he cuts the zip line, and the guy ends up dropping 20 stories to his death. And that's pretty much how the episode ends. So, yeah. I tried not to talk about everything, and I tried not to take too long, but it ended up happening. And I'll definitely try to get these out a little bit sooner, but, I mean, I gotta catch up. I haven't even caught the second episode yet, so I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty solid start to this. Obviously, I mean, not a whole bunch happened in the episode, because this is the premiere episode, and they have to, they had to give out a lot of information about why is Maggie, what is she looking for? Who is she looking for? Why is she at Hilltop? And I mean, it makes sense for Negan to be away, because at the end of the main series, he took off anyway, so he was already gone, he had gotten a good distance. So I liked it. I liked it overall. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too bad about it, I don't really think. I thought it was a pretty good, solid start, and I can't wait to watch more. And if you have seen the first episode, what are your thoughts on it? Did you think it was pretty decent, bad, or did you think it was pretty good? Honestly, I think this is going to work out. I really like the dynamic of Maggie and Negan, and I'm very interested to see where this continues. And that's all I got for you guys for today. And, yeah, that's, like I said, that's all I got for you guys for today. I am Buck Beak, and I'm going to go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye guys.